Any footballer would jump at the chance of joining Real Madrid. Who wouldn't want to play football in the Spanish capital, under the bright lights in the famous all-white strip alongside Ronaldo and co? It's the stuff dreams are made of. However, that doesn't mean they go signing players left, right and centre. In fact, it begs the question, how do you go out improving the current Champions League and La Liga title holders? We've put together a potential 11 for Los Blancos this season, including some new faces, so make sure you stay tuned for them. Despite constant speculation linking David De Gea to the Bernabeu, Manchester United manager Jose Mourinho has made it clear in recent statements that that's not going to happen. But that doesn't mean that the current filler in between the sticks is just merely an option. Since making the move in 2014 from Levante to succeed Iker Casillas, Keylor Navas has won 6 trophies with Real Madrid. This is even more impressive considering his relatively late blossoming as a professional footballer. Navas made his first team professional debut in the Spanish League at age 25. For comparison, at that age, Iker Casillas had been Real Madrid's #1 for 7 years, Spain's #1 for 5 years, and had 8 trophies, including 2 Champions League winners' medals. It's not all bad for Navas though. In another comparison, I'm almost 25, and I won Player of the Year once at school 10 years ago. Up next is the right-back spot, where we've placed one of Real Madrid's standout performers from last season. Even with the sale of Danilo to Man City, and with only one recognised right-back in the squad, there's still no doubt that our man for the role is Dani Carvajal. But does the sale of Danilo now leave Carvajal in a slightly uncomfortable position? Given the amount of games played per season, over 50 for any top club, it seems inconceivable that Real Madrid will stick with one right-back for the whole season. So what does that mean for Dani Carvajal? Well, it means come the end of the summer, he may be competing with a new multi-million-pound star signing, maybe Fabinho. He may also be facing competition from a new, up-and-coming understudy. Or most likely, he may be left alone in that position. Reports from Spain have stated that Zidane doesn't want to enter the market for a new defender. For now, it looks as if the French manager is more than happy to keep him there, with Nacho able to cover if needs be. It's a little different on the left-hand side. With Fabio Carvajal loaned out to Sporting Lisbon, Real Madrid have decided to go for the expensive option and bring in Theo Hernandez from city rivals Atletico. Now usually when a 19-year-old joins for £26 million, you'd expect to see him in the starting lineup straight away. But no, not this time. Marcelo's our man. This will be down to one of two things. Either Theo Hernandez will fail to replace the man who's had over 400 appearances in 11 seasons at Real Madrid and is still in his late 20s. Or the whole world would have seen this video. The fact he tried to play that off as cool is even more ridiculous. So with that botched presentation in mind, here's what Marcelo made of the threat to his new position. Now we're not saying Marcelo doesn't deserve his place in the team after a fantastic season last year, but it does help when your best friend is arguably the best player in the world. So it seems Marcelo will continue to dominate the left-back spot for a few more seasons at least. The centre of defence really picks itself, with an ageing Pepe having left for Besiktas this summer. And in Nacho, Real Madrid have a player, much like Alvaro Arbeloa, who is Madrid through and through. Not only is he willing to accept less playing time, but he's also used to filling in a number of different positions. However, his capabilities in the heart of defence are often questioned, and with returning loanee Jesus Vallejo not Madrid made just yet, for the here and now, we're sticking with Sergio Ramos and Raphal Varane. In this pair, Real Madrid have two of the finest defenders in the world. Both are more accustomed to the rigours and demands of life at the Bernabeu, and you won't find a more complementary duo in any of the big games. The perfect combination of defensive ability, physical prowess, and the winning mentality. There's just one stat that turns this love story sour. Let's see if you can guess the common theme amongst these photos. That's right, all of those pictures showed Sergio Ramos being sent off, something which has happened a staggering 22 times in his Real Madrid career. That's twice a season for the last 11 years. Add in the fact that the departing Pepe was often susceptible to seeing the red mist, it's probably a wise decision to pair the calming influence of Varane next to the hot-headed Ramos. Now we come to the midfield, the engine room, the place where defence becomes attack after a swift pass through the eye of the needle. Let's take a look at who makes our midfield three. They say that if you win the midfield battle, the chances you'll win increase greatly. With talented players like Sami Khedira, Assia Iramendi, and Martin Odegaard coming and going after the last few seasons, it's clear to see that Real Madrid value the middle of the park. But none of these guys performed at a consistently high enough level to warrant being kept. So last summer, Real Madrid went into the transfer market and signed Mateo Kovacic from Inter Milan. But even Kovacic couldn't barge his way into the starting 11. So here, we've gone with his international captain, Luka Modric. His talents not only encompass his skill, creativity and passing, but also his determination and aggression in the middle of the park. Having played in the Bosnian First Division way back in 2003, something that Modric himself said meant he could play anywhere in the world, his physical stature hasn't stopped him from going on to becoming one of the best midfielders. In fact, Modric is the first Croat to win 3 Champions League medals, putting him up there with such national icons as Davor Suker and Robert Prosinecki. Having been named La Liga's best midfielder twice since his move, and in the Champions League Team of the Season in all 3 of Madrid's recent winning campaigns, it was a no-brainer to put him in this team. And if you still doubt his value towards the team, he's just been given the number 10 shirt at Real Madrid. Something which would be slightly more impressive if it hadn't have just come off the back of this serial underperformer, James Rodriguez. Our second midfielder is the past master of the Bernabeu. Drawing praise from such legends as Johan Cruyff and Paul Scholes is no easy task. But when you've won almost everything in world football at the age of 27, it's something you should be used to. But just before we give away the name of our second midfielder, here's a cracking piece of useless trivia for you. Did you know he is the only player to be born in the old East Germany to win the World Cup? If you did, then you know we are talking about Real Madrid's number 8, Toni Kroos. And if you didn't, the next time a pub quiz comes around, you'll thank me. Given the success of German players over the years, it's quite shocking to see that Kroos, like teammate Modric, is the first of his nation's player to win 3 Champions League medals. But despite all the personal and team accolades, you just need to watch Kroos for a matter of minutes before realising that this Madrid team just wouldn't be the same without him. Alongside these 2 technically gifted wizards, they need someone alongside them to hold things together. With apologies to the promising Marcos Llorente, our man in the midfield is a Madrid player like no other. In a team full of stars, it's always good to balance them out with a hard-working, combative defensive midfielder. Attributes which have led the Brazilian to admit he doesn't really feel Brazilian at all sometimes. Often the unsung hero at Real Madrid, Casemiro credits his success to Zinedine Zidane. Back in 2015, when Zidane was Rafa Benitez's assistant manager, he was always be the one to pick Casemiro up after he was left on the bench. This has paid off for both parties, with Zidane, now manager, having a reliable and, quote, fundamental part of his team ready to play at any given moment. But let's not write off his attacking ability just yet. He did, after all, do this in the Champions League final. How many defensive midfielders can add that to their resume? So that completes our defence and midfield. Now here come the lights, the cameras, and all the action. To start off the attack in this 11, we have a slightly controversial selection. In Welshman Gareth Bale, Real Madrid have a player who, when not on the injury table, has found himself out of form last season. This led to them choosing a rather forgotten man in the setup, Isco. When signed in the early pre-season of 2013, things looked bright for the €30 million playmaker. However, fast forward 2 months to the beginning of the season, and Real Madrid had paid more than 3 times that for Gareth Bale. As this pushed Madrid into a way of fitting Bale, Benzema and Ronaldo into the same team, it simultaneously pushed Isco out of the spotlight before he even had time to shine. But courtesy of a super second half of the campaign last season, Isco has more than shown his worth to the team. The business end of last season saw Isco play a key role as Madrid did the League and Champions League double. He started the final in the win over Juventus, as well as being named in the Champions League Team of the Season. He ended the season with an impressive ratio of a goal every 3 games, the best in any league campaign in his career. So with Isco deployed in a slightly deeper attacking role, we have 2 positions to fill. One of them, an absolute no-brainer. Some players love the pre-season tours. New places to visit, new fans, and new stadiums. Some players hate the pre-season tours, long flights, constant hysteria outside the hotel, and unfamiliar climates. But there's one man who fits in his own category, who does his own pre-season tour. Some say he can score from any position on any field. But can he find the net in LA whilst he's traipsing around Asia? Probably. Ladies and gentlemen, Cristiano Ronaldo. What more could I say that hasn't already been said about CR7? Despite wanting to leave due to being asked to pay back taxes earlier in the summer, he isn't going anywhere. And why would he? He breaks records like they're going out of fashion, all whilst keeping impeccably low body fat and the perfect hairdo. He's an absolute certainty for any 11 in the world, and with the exception of a few Messi fans, you're rarely going to find someone who disagrees. And so to the final spot on this list. Marco Ascencio and Lucas Vasquez will have to do with support roles here. Karim Benzema has been at the club for 8 seasons now, in which time he's managed to achieve an incredible 1 goal every 2 games strike ratio. However, for some Real Madrid fans, this isn't good enough. So despite all his best efforts, we've decided to leave the 29-year-old out for the golden boy of French football. Blessed with lightning pace, exceptional finishing, and with age on his side at 18 years old, it's Kylian Mbappe. Since Mbappe's sensational breakthrough last season, he's drawn much praise around the footballing world and many comparisons to French legend Thierry Henry. This is probably because he did break Henry's record as the youngest goal scorer and the youngest player to make an appearance in the red and white during his maiden campaign. The 2016-17 campaign saw Mbappe build on that in incredible fashion, as he helped Monaco to the semi-finals of the Champions League and to win Liga, banging in 26 goals along the way. With reports linking him to various clubs around Europe, it seems the price tag of over 100 million euros is only likely to interest the big money clubs such as Real Madrid, Manchester United and PSG. With the strong French presence at Madrid already felt with Zidane, Varane and Benzema, it seems they have all the influential figures they need to tempt the youngster to the Bernabeu. So, alongside a star-studded signing, that's our Real Madrid 11 for the new season. Who do you think will make it into the team? Comment below and don't forget to subscribe. Yeah.